Welcome, everyone, to Tethys Shipyards. I am Takeshi Yamato, the Yardmaster, joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Today, we're taking a look. We're we're taking a new look at a bird of prey we did fairly early on in the Tethys Shipyard series, the Core class. Designation E18. This is House Katinga re-entering the Starship design, re-entering the re-entering Starship design with a new version of their famous Burrell class, and doing it with a bang.
While House Corlocks many simple birds of prey, while also harkening back to the old days of the Von Tock class, served their purpose in keeping the KDF solvent after the Dominion War. Once the industrial base was back up and running, well, it was time to start introducing some new ships that could actually last more than a decade in service. And the Burrell just refuses to die.
Yeah.
But
So,
the E15 design was long since out of date. Fortunately, the basic hull was not.
yeah.
A few structural modifications, some new high-energy disruptor cannons, new beam emitters, as seen on the wingtips, alongside with new high-energy disruptor cannons, superior sensor arrays, and comm emitters, which, by the way, are those lovely little bayonet things under the command pod.
Stabby.
As well as further structural reinforcement along the neck. Because while it is not as much of a problem as one might think, given the fact that the neck is ironically not as exposed as you might think when the ship is on the attack, which, by the way, is Klingon doctrine. That's why they have the long booms.
Yep.
They decided to beef it up just a bit, like in the old days, before structural integrity fields were mature enough to actually handle spindly little things.
Yeah.
And so the ship was named after the legendary Dahar Master Kor, who, ironically enough, used a bird of prey to kick some Jem'Hadar ass.
And burn his way into Stovokor.
Yeah, taking on 10 birds of prey and taking on 10 Jem'Hadar bug ships and killing all 10 of them. While not surviving. Let's see. 10 ships, 1. The one ship kills them all, but doesn't survive.
Yeah. He's definitely going into Stovokor with it.
Well, just goes to show the man's skill.
Yeah.
So why not honor him with a starship that just won't die? Of course, the Corps did not exactly have an auspicious entry into her service. Thanks to, you guessed it, the Klingon Federation War. Production delays, more production delays. It was only at the tail end of the conflict that the ship actually entered service and saw some combat, though not enough to warrant it fully replacing the E-15. It only truly earned her stripes during the Iconian War, where many ships of this class, along with much larger pilot Raptors, proved their worth in battle, and signified that House Katinga was back on the map. While House Korlach was not exactly out of the race, they were a distant second, at best. And while they would continue to get production orders, because in spite of the fact that they were not as capable as the core, they were still useful. The core would continue in service. That said, also after the Iconian War, there was a new rival design. Of course, we're not entirely sure who designed this thing. In-universe, of course. Out-of-universe, this thing was actually designed by E.C. Henry, who seems to actually have a better way of turning these things into something that actually works. This is why we don't use scripts. Again, this is why we don't use scripts.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get the thing out of the way. Who designed this thing?
The Chala?
Yeah, the new one. Would you stop?
I'm thinking this would probably be a House Corlock design, just saying, since they do seem to be the ones who go into
screw this. I have the fleet version. I'm not going to care very much.
Right.
And I'm not looking at the winged bat phallus any longer than I have to.
Yeah. And I'm still not getting stream.
That's because I haven't launched it yet.
Okay.
Alright. Regardless of whoever designed that, we'll put it in. Take, I'll probably put it in the comment when this goes live.
I'm thinking it'll probably be another House Corlock design.
Doesn't really fit with their design language. They're really boxy stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know who then, but we can come up with something else. Maybe some other house that is decided to dabble in ship design, or maybe even a newcomer into the ship design market, ship design game market, whatever you want to call it.
Like when Boeing decided they had a new rival in the form of Airbus. Regardless, whoever designed this thing, they decided to take some elements of both Raptor and Bird of Prey design. A massive block with a massive set of impulse engines. Fixed wings instead of mobile ones, which, ironically enough, is a far easier choice for mass production, and a pair of massive disruptor cannons mounted under the command pod, as well as a very oversized set of, well, reactors and, of course, a warp core, which is, by the way, those giant things on top.
Yeah.
The ship would be named Machala II, in honor of the ship that would lead to the glorious Burrell class, and would be designated E-19. And it cut out again, didn't it?
Nope, it didn't. Sorry, I'm just... Chala 2.
Yeah.
I've got...
As a relative newcomer to the game, the Machala II has not seen too much combat except during the Second Klingon Civil War that involved, well, pseudo-Klingons that looked more like Jacksonian orcs, trying to force their way into Klingon politics. It ended poorly for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And the ships actually shot at each other at one point. That said, fratricide aside, the ships did prove their worth as capable combatants, as one ship even engaged an Odyssey-class dreadnought and damaged it. That said, that Odyssey-class dreadnought was the USS Rockeye Loom. So you can guess how that ended.
Yeah, the Rockylum decided to spank the bird of prey so hard it went boom, and with it being a liberated Borg starship, it was probably back to fighting shape in very short order.
Yeah, and the fleet, yeah, and the task force that bird of prey was assigned to did not survive the war. Mostly because the Rockylum decided vengeance was the only option. Don't screw with her
Yeah.
captain. He'll kill you multiple times over if need be.
Yeah.
Still, the fact that this ship managed to take on the most lethal ship in Starfleet, and while it didn't survive, it did damage. So,
Yeah.
respect is due, at the very least.
Yeah.
Which finally earned it its role as a sort of half step between the bird of prey and the raptor. Ironically, filling the same role its distant ancestor, the Kud class, did back in the old days. And seeing as we're back to to the TMP situation, I don't think anybody minds.
Nope.
So let's stat this thing.
Yeah. So I'm giving this thing an entered service date of 2411. And let's see. 60 points. Is this scale 3 or 4?
I am going to say 4. This thing's a bit bulkier than the Burrell. More room for crew and the like.
Okay. So that means we can start simply 10 points and everything and just modify systems from there. I'd say probably drop a point from structure 9 at least.
She's still a pretty tanky boat.
Yeah, just not. Yeah,
Though
but
she's probably not packing the most advanced computers in the fleet. Gee, I wonder why.
So computers 9 as well. And let's see, I'll put weapons at 11 and engines at 11.
I think that's actually a pretty good thing. She's a relatively balanced little boat.
Yep, comms 10, computers 9, engines 11, sensors 10, structure 9, weapons 11.
Well, she is a KDL. In case anyone doesn't recognize the Housecoat, that's Klingon Destroyer Leader.
Right.
Pseudo command ship. Though I wouldn't give her the command ship specialization for obvious reasons.
Yeah. And for department modifiers, I'm thinking 1 point each in command, security, and engineering.
Yep.
So we've got, and for weapons, disruptor cannons. Do we want to add disruptor banks or disruptor arrays?
I think she's got a banker. I think she's got a couple of banks.
Alright, so disruptor cannons, disruptor banks.
And of course the Logi situation, so she still has photon torpedoes.
Yep. And strength 3 tractor beam. Cloaking device for 1 talent. Let's see, for the second one, like you said, probably not command ship. So let's see. Rapid fire torpedo launcher, maybe not.
Anything that would increase the rate of fire for her disruptors?
I
mean, she does have an awful lot of disruptor cannons.
Not really. Just the best thing I could think of would be like fast targeting systems.
That'll do. Because the faster you can get a target, the faster you can shoot it.
Yep. And this means you can just that you don't suffer any increase in difficulty for making a specific system target instead of just targeting the ship. And for descriptor traits, Klingon starship, bird of prey.
The only thing to wound him.
Yeah, I'll put that in quote marks.
Because this ship is one of the few things that can actually take on the Rockeye Loom and actually hurt it for a few minutes. And then get very vengeful.
Yeah.
Red alert, shields up.
So that has been our Bird of Prey series. We've covered all the ships in the line.
Sir, we're going to hit.
From the original Von Tuck all the way up to the Core and the Machala 2. There's
Simulated
a few
enemy
things
ship has
we
been
haven't
destroyed.
seen,
That's
but
it. We got him.
there's a few things we
Friendly ship
haven't
has
done.
been destroyed.
But there's a few things we haven't done, but well, those can be just variants of some of the ships that we've already done.
Yeesh. That poor Dideridax.
Yeah.
But yeah. Eesh. Poor Cood. Yeah, this is the Cood.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the Bird of Prey list. Bye bye.